Here with Dr. Kenneth Riggs, who is the interim director of the psychology department here at Free Will Baptist Bible College. Dr. Riggs, you've been working in education for quite a long time, haven't you?
This is my first year was 1966, so this would be 42 years, if that's correct.
Wow.
44 years.
44 years.
That I've been teaching for 44 years. Started at Bethany Christian School in Norfolk, where my dad was. My daddy started the first Christian school in the Free Will Baptist movement.
I see.
And Daddy asked me to come help him, and the rest of it's history. When I was a student here, Dr. Thigpen had talked to me about coming back with the purpose of helping to establish a teacher education program. And so I joined the faculty here in '71 and helped write the program. There were Dr. Doug Simpson and Mr. Henry Oliver and I. We were the three-man committee with Dr. Pickerilly's input to write the program.
Wow. To
get the teacher education program here at the college.
Wow. Now, when you were with your dad starting that Christian school, is that when you did you earn your doctorate at Old Dominion?
No, I got my master's at Old Dominion.
Okay.
I got a master's in guidance and counseling, and then I came back to Nashville and went to MTSU and got another master's in curriculum and instruction. And then I was hired to teach here.
I see.
I did not get my doctorate until 1978, but I'd already been on the faculty here for 7 years when that occurred.
I see.
I never planned to get a doctorate, but while I was involved in the education department, Dr. Pickerilly told me, we have to have a man with a doctorate degree and we want you to go, so I did. In fact, ironically, Thurman Pate and I and Dr. Fay Forlines, we all three graduated together. The last class, that was Peabody, before it merged with Vanderbilt. So my doctorate is in curriculum and instruction as well.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So you've been teaching a long time and got quite a bit of education in teaching, especially in those days when not so many folks were doing that.
That's correct. In fact, when I left here, when I graduated from the Bible College in '64, I knew I wanted to be a teacher, but there was no teacher education program here at all. So I took every course I could find, particularly in the Christian education curriculum, and then went to teach, but was not certified, was not licensed because I didn't have any of those kinds of credentials. And so then I went to Old Dominion to get a master's degree, and then the second master's, and then the doctorate, so that I could have the credentials in the field of education.
That's good.
Yeah.
And you've been teaching a long time. And
Yes, sir.
You've written a book that's recently been published called They Call Me Doc.
Yes.
Give us a synopsis of that book.
Well, actually, the book, I wrote it in 3 different sections. The first section was somewhat biographical, where I talked about my desire to be a teacher. My dad was a one-room schoolhouse teacher when he was a young man. And he's always been involved in education too. And so it was somewhat biographical as to why and how I became a teacher. And then another section in the book is what I called It Happened in the Classroom. Some of the serious and humorous things that have happened with me as a teacher. And then the third section was some of the issues that I've had to deal with as a Christian educator. Things like child rearing. Parents have often asked me about raising their children, what to do, and so I've tried to deal with that issue. I dealt with the issue of the Christian and the public school, philosophy, those kinds of issues that I felt needed to be told, at least from my vantage point. And so the whole book is somewhat biographical. But then I also have a section in there that I called the characteristics of a good teacher. The teachers that influenced me and what they did, how they did it, why they did it, what was their mannerism. I also in that section give a little bit of a brief history of the education of Christ, the fact that he was, in my opinion, the ultimate educator. Well, what did he do that made him a good teacher? And I take those issues and try to challenge teachers to emulate what Jesus was as an educator.
Sounds very interesting. So this would be very good for folks that are interested in being teachers, but also perhaps for parents as they're trying to think about educating their own child, the child rearing aspects.
Right, and I would like to think too that some of my former students who may not even be in education, but they may see themselves. I haven't called anybody's name in the book, but some of them had those humorous experiences with me that I enjoyed. I mean,
Yes.
I put them in the book not to be critical, but to really somewhat be complimentary, that I still remember them and the impact that they had on me in a humorous way. So I hope some of my students would buy it as well.
So they need to check it out. They can find it at Amazon.com. It's They Call Me Teach by Dr. Ken Riggs.
They call me Doc.
They call me Doc.
Right. Or they can contact me directly if they want to. I don't mind. If they want to go to Amazon, they can. I don't mind if they want to contact me directly. That's fine too.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Riggs.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for your ministry as a teacher, and thank you for taking the time to write this important work.
Well, thank you. And before you turn this off, I want to say thank you to you, because you're a former student as well, and to see you doing what you're doing and how the Lord's using you has been a blessing to me.
Well, I appreciate it. I also appreciate you doing a good job teaching me.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Eddie.
Thank you, Dr. Riggs.